Hello and welcome to another video. In this one we're going to be talking about a question that I got on stream recently, which is, what is that argument named argv? Why is it named argv and where does that come from? What does it mean? So let's jump into it and explain that. So I wasn't working on this program, but I was working on a similar one. And actually this same pattern is described in a previous video of mine, which is how to make a testable command line with Python and PyTest. And I'll actually link that in the description. It's actually the first video of this series. But anyway, the advice in that video is you'll make a function that has a signature that basically looks like this. A main function which takes argv as an optional sequence of strings that defaults to none and returns an integer. So this is the signature that I've used for basically all of my command line programs. And the question that I got is what is argv and where does that come from? Now, I might be wrong here, but for me, the name argv comes from C, which is the first place that I've seen it. It's possible that this predates C, but I don't know. C is pretty old, so it's likely or possible that it came from C itself. So I'm going to write you a small C program which demonstrates what argv is and argc as well. So we'll just open up a small C file, and we're going to import standard IO. This is how you do input and output in C. Int main, and you'll have int argc and char ** argv. Argv. And these are the parameters that you'll get as part of your main function. The underlying C library will call this function for you. Usually, I think it's called crt0. I don't remember though. That's not important. And again, we'll return 0 since it's int main. Technically, this is optional in C, and there's reasons for that. But here we have two parameters, and these stand for two things. And the first of those is argument count, which is what the argc is. And then the second of those is the argument vector. Basically the sequence of strings that are the command line arguments. And C doesn't really have, well, you can build objects that work like Python's, sequence or list or tuple type, but the built-in char ** is just an array, and it doesn't have a length on its own. And so if we want to maybe print some diagnostics about this, we'll use printf, number of arguments, %d, and then we'll put argc in there, and then maybe we'll make a for loop that loops over I less than argc, I plus equals 1, that loops over each of these. Got arg %s, and argv I. So this will kind of build a small little program which is going to print the number of arguments that it receives, and then it'll print out each of those arguments. Just a very, very simple program. And so we'll gcc t.c, that will compile our program. And I forgot a semicolon somewhere. Expected parenthesis before semicolon token. Yes. Oh, I forgot a parenthesis. We'll compile that program, and when we run it, you'll see when we just run it on its own, we get a single argument, and the first argument that comes in the argument vector is always the program name. So you can see we got a.out. That's how we executed this program. In fact, if we use this as a full path to a.out, you'll see we get a different argv0, which is the program name there. But if we pass arguments in here like foobar, baz, and I don't know, $hi and hard quotes, you'll see that we get individual argument strings from each of these command line arguments. So that's what argc, argument count, and argv, argument vector, are. But thank you for watching. If you guys have additional stuff you want to explain, leave a comment below or reach out to me on the various platforms. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.